How does Sasquatch a warrant in Washington State? After all, this is the Pacific Northwest. And what I'm really talking about is quashing a warrant. Most people call it squashing a warrant, which is sort of not the legal term, but we're going to talk about quashing, or in this case, Sasquatching that warrant that you might have. So if you have a warrant out there, you're interested in this type of stuff, this is the video for you. My name is Fryrear, and I'm the defender of justice. Defender of justice. Defender of justice. Defender of justice. I don't normally look like this. I look like this. And that's because I'm a defense attorney in Lynnwood, Washington. We've been defending people charged with crimes for more than 20 years, and we've taken care of more than our fair share of warrants. So in this video, I'm going to cover three things. Number one, what do you do if you think you have a warrant? Number two, what are the common steps you might want to take to quash that warrant? Or finally, number three, what are some pitfalls to avoid about quashing warrants in Washington State? So if you find this video helpful, please like, please subscribe to the channel. In most videos, I'm on my normal suit because I'm trying to get information out there to the public. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Number one, what do you do if you think you have a warrant? Well, the most important thing to do is to think back. Hey, when and more importantly, where did the legal problem happen? Because warrants are issued by courts, not by the police typically, but by courts. So if you have a warrant, that means you missed a court date. So if you got pulled over in Lynnwood, then the warrant could be in Lynnwood Municipal Court for non-felonies, or if it's a felony, it's going to be in the county level court. And so think about where the problem happened. And if you can remember the general area, you can start calling the courts as one way to do it. You can call up and say, here's my name. Are there any open cases under my name, Lynnwood Court? Or Snohomish County Superior Court, this is my name. Are there any open cases under my name? So think about where it is that the problem happened, and they'll give you the first clue of how to determine whether or not you have a warrant. The second way I might suggest to do that is to call a bonding company or call a couple of bonding companies, because they're in the business of knowing and finding warrants, and they have access to some systems that you don't. So you can look up a bail company, a bonding company, and call them up and say, hey, I think I have a warrant, because a bonding company is in the business of posting bail to try to get warrants quashed. So that moves on to number two. How do we get a warrant quashed? What are the general steps? Well, the easiest, although most expensive way, is to post a bail or bond. And we have a video on this channel if you want to look at how bonds work. It's maybe about an 8 or 9 minute video. But the bottom line is if you have a $5,000 bail against you, you can either pay $5,000 to the jail, typically, to get the warrant quashed, or you could have a bonding company post a bond, which is a promise to pay $5,000 to the court if you fail to appear for future court dates. And their promise costs you money, a fee that you're not going to get back, typically 10% of the bond amount, the amount that the court has set in your case. If you have a private attorney, oftentimes they'll give you an 8% rate. So that's one way. It's the most expensive way, but it's the quickest way to deal with quashing, or in this case, Sasquatching a warrant. What's another way to do it? Well, certain courts have procedures where you can basically sign for a new court date. Certain courts have rules of thumb. For example, in Lynnwood, I know because that's where my office is, if the bail or bond amount is less than $7,500, you can sign up to go into court at 9 a.m. Is the current status in April 2021. Sign up, go in, show an ID, pay a $100 administrative fee, and they'll quash your warrant. However, if the bond amount is $7,500 or more, that's code that they're not going to allow you to do that. And so each court has their own ways of doing things, which changes over time. So call the court and say, hey, do you have any type of what they usually call a walk-in procedure where I can sign and pay a small fee for a court date? Many people get worried that they're going to get arrested if that happens. I've never seen that happen in 20 years of defense work, and I was a prosecutor for 7 years before that. The court wants people clearing warrants, and if they are in the business of saying, gotcha, we're arresting you now, no one would ever try to clear a warrant because the court wants the cases to move forward. So finally, moving on to the third thing, what are some things to watch out for if you're trying to quash that warrant? Well, the biggest thing to watch out for is just putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, because the longer you're missing from the court, the more reason the court might have to be mad about it. Another thing to look out for, which we've seen, is sometimes some cities have a really high default bail. So if you get arrested for something, if your loved one's in jail and for a bail amount, basically sometimes the court will lower a bail upon a motion, and so you don't necessarily have to spend all that money with the bonding company. And probably the final thing to look out for is regarding quashing warrants. If you've given the bail to the bonding company, you paid them the fee, make sure that you stay on top of them, because when they post it, the court should tell them and eventually tell you what the next court date is, and you don't want to miss that next court date. You have to stay on top of it, because you missed the next court date. If you posted a bond to quash your warrant, that's going to be forfeited. So I hope you found this video helpful. If so, please like, please subscribe. And more importantly, if you have a warrant out there and you're having problems, you're not sure what to do about it, feel free to give our office a call. If there's any way that we can try to help you figure that out, we will. And it may make sense for us to get involved and help you with your criminal matter. Give us a call and we'll be there for you. Thank you.